So let's make it real. Let's actually run that friends by age script and actually run it on some data here and actually use Spark for it. So I've opened up two different folders here on my hard drive, and if you want to follow along, please do the same thing here. One is the C Spark Scala folder that I created earlier in the course, and that's kind of our directory that we're going to use for the course itself, all the data and scripts and projects that we're going to be running. And over here I have the course materials that I had downloaded all together earlier in the course, and that's in my download Spark Scala folder. So first thing I need to do is get a copy of the data that we generated for this exercise, and that's going to be the fakefriends.csv file. Click on that and preview it. You can see that it has the format that I described in the previous lecture, where we basically have a user ID followed by a username, the user age, and the number of friends. And we've fabricated a bunch of different people at random using a library of fictitious names of various Star Trek and Deep Space Nine characters, because I'm a nerd. But again, all we really care about are the ages and number of friends. That's the information we're trying to aggregate, right? So let's go ahead and copy the fakefriends.csv file over into my project directory. All right. Now the script we're going to use is in the friendsbyage.scala, but we're going to have to import that into our package. So let's go ahead and open up the Scala IDE. Make sure your workspace is set to your workspace for this course. And up it should come. All right. Open up the Spark Scala course project, open up the source folder, and we're going to select the com.sundogsoftware.spark package. Right-click on that, select Import, General, File System, and then browse to our download directory. In my case, that's Downloads Spark Scala. And we're going to select the friendsbyage.scala script and import that into our package. There we have it. So now I can open up that package and double-click friendsbyage.scala and take a look at our code. And it's pretty much what we described in the previous lecture, but let's review again what's going on here, just for the sake of letting it sink in. We have our usual boilerplate stuff up here where we're declaring the package that we're in. We're importing the Spark libraries that we need and the log4j package that we need for this script. We are creating a friendsbyage object, and within that we have two functions. One is our main function, that is where all the action happens, and then we also have this parseLine function. And its job is to just take our input data and extract the information we actually care about. In that case, it's going to be the age and the number of friends for each individual in our input data. So again, we're going to take each line of raw input, split it up based on commas, because it is a comma-separated values file, extract the age from field number 2, which is actually the third field. We start counting at 0, convert it to an int. We extract the friends number from field number 3, which is the fourth field, converted to an integer, and we return a tuple of the age and the number of friends for each individual. And this becomes our key value pair for the key value RDD that results from this operation. Okay. So putting it into action, we go to our main function, we set our logging level to error to reduce all the log spam, create our Spark context to run locally using every core, and we're going to name this context friendsbyage. We call text file on the Spark context to load up the fakefriends.csv file we just copied in to a lines RDD. At this point, it's not a key value RDD, it's just an RDD where every value is a line of raw input. But then we apply our parseLine function to that RDD. We call lines.map, passing in the parseLine function as a parameter to map, and that will apply the parseLine function to every individual input row and give us back a key value RDD, where the RDD consists of two integers, which represent an age and a number of friends. So the key is our age, the value is the number of friends. And here's that big scary line again that we talked about previously, where we apply two steps in one. First thing we do is we take those key values of ages and number of friends, map them so that the values are not just a raw number of friends, but a tuple of the number of friends and the number 1. And that just allows us to add up both the total number of friends and the total number of people for a given age. And that's what reduce by key does. It says given two of these values, which are tuples of total number of friends and total number of people of a given age, we add them all together, one component at a time. So we add together every friend count and every number 1 for each individual to end up with our resulting totals by age RDD, which will contain one row for each unique age that we've seen and the grand total in a tuple of the total number of friends for that age and the total number of people we saw from that age by adding up all those ones that we created. Okay? And that gives us the numbers that we need to actually compute the averages. So by mapping those resulting values, by just dividing the first and second elements of each tuple, the total number of friends and total number of people, we end up with the average. And that goes into our averages by age RDD. We collect the results and we sort them and print out each line. Let's see if it works. So to do that, we need to create a run configuration for this particular class. Remember we called this friends by age was the name of our object. So go to run configurations, and we're going to create a new Scala application. Just double click on that. We will call this friends by age. The project is correct, Spark Scala course, but the main class is going to be com.sundogsoftware.spark.friends by age. Okay. And now we can hit run and see what happens. Hey, it worked. So there you have it. Now you can't read anything into this data because it was all just randomly generated. This is not real data, but it could be. Maybe you're working at a big social network company and you have something similar. But to interpret this result, for example, that the average 18-year-old in our fake data had 343 friends, the average 40-year-old had 250 friends, the average 57-year-old had 258 friends. It would be pretty interesting to see what that would look like with real data. But that shows you how to do it. And there you have it, a working key value RDD example. Feel free to play around with it, mess around with it, try to change the results, and get familiar with it. There you have it. So it's one thing to watch me write code and go through it, but it's another thing to do it yourself and get your hands on it. So I encourage you to do so. Here's a little challenge for you. Why don't you go back to that friends by age example and modify it to actually show the average number of friends by first name instead. Should be pretty straightforward. It's just a matter of extracting a different field from the source data and using that as your key. And obviously you're not going to convert names to integers, but the objective here is just to get your hands on this code and actually start modifying it yourself and get some confidence that you can actually go in there and fiddle with some Spark Scala code and actually make something work. So I encourage you to do so. See if you can go and do that. Find the average number of friends by first name as opposed to the age. And that would actually be an interesting thing to find out in the real world too. So give that a try, and I'll see you in the next lecture.